In the Facebook group, Hi Legends says Magical Koala. And just on that, in the Facebook group, guys, we've got this nickname thing happening now. You've seen my comments in there. It's here to stay. That's fine. But the minute ordinarily, if you're a dickhead or an asshole or a misogynist or a prick or anything like that, I'll just remove you from the Facebook group, okay? Again, just because you've got a nickname, if you're an asshole, if you're a cockhead, if you're a misogynist, if you're a racist pig, I'll still remove you. Is that too harsh, Rach? I'm coming in hot.
I have a bit of anxiety.
I'm just not putting up with people hiding behind stuff in the Facebook
It's always
group.
the pineapples.
It's always the pineapples. But anyway, not Magical Koala. I'll moderate hard. If you're a rude asshole, I don't want you anywhere near anything that I've got to do. Only I'm allowed to be the rude asshole. Woo. Hi Legends. We've recently sold our investment property, leaving us with a $500K mortgage on our main property. We have $450K-ish now sitting in our offset account left over from the sale. What do we do? Do we pay off the mortgage shares, leave it on offsetting? We keep changing our minds. So that means there's $50K still.
Yeah, so they've got a $500,000 mortgage, but they're only paying interest on $50,000 because $450 is being offset.
Yeah. What are you, I don't know, you're the property gal, apparently. You've got a podcast called This Is Property. Rach, Kroon, everyone. What are you saying to this magical koala?
I know that you think I'm going to say buy an investment property, but I'm not.
Well,
this is what I'm going to say.
I'll say don't we keep property forever? Why are we selling property?
If you keep changing your mind on what you want to do, what you're doing right now is the most amazing choice for you because you've got $450,000 sitting in offset, meaning you're not paying interest on it. You're only paying interest on $50,000 and you've got choices. So until that keep changing our mind changed to I have a strategy and I know what I'm going to do, I would do exactly what you're doing.
But it depends, doesn't it?
It does.
And what are some of the things that it depends on?
Well, it depends on, I guess, what your long-term strategy is. So I think at this point in time, you need to work out what your goals are and what your strategy is going to be before you do anything that's going to turn that liquidity of cash off. So I would never say to somebody in this position, oh, great, pay your mortgage off, because really, essentially now you've paid your mortgage off down to $50,000. But once you do that, it's hard to get it back. So why don't you just leave it there in offset while you work out a strategy? What would you say?
I would say it depends. You're absolutely right, but my depends were different because we're different people. Number one, I believe it depends on the behavioural vibe. Are you a spender? Are you going to go, we've got $450K now and we just death by 1,000 cuts? Pick.
Yes.
Depends on the behaviour. And I've just made some notes. I think also number two, it depends on the house /PPOR. And what I mean by that is where you're living, you're now effectively mortgage free. Are you happy with this house for the next 5 to 10 years? Say 5 years. Yep, we are. Okay. I'm thinking, well, we won't go to that because the third point, it depends on the future, which you touched on. What are our plans? If the plans are, well, the kids are growing up, if there is kids, we are going to need to upgrade the home probably in 4 years, well, that comes into play as well. I think if it is the fact, and we can only make assumptions, that we love the house, we've pumped the mortgage, it's worth $1 million, sure, there might need to be some superficial renovations, you might repaint it, had to put a new roof on, throw 20 grand at something or whatever. Me personally, because of the number one behavioural thing, I'm probably paying down the mortgage and committing that money to the mortgage, like literally paying it down and focusing over the next however long. My whole financial reason for living is to clear the mortgage, have this property debt-free.
Yeah, and even if you are planning on investing in shares or if you're planning on buying another property, you've obviously done well from property. Why not give it another go? But even if you were doing one of those things...
Are you a capitalist pig?
I am a capitalist pig. But if you were doing those things, paying your mortgage down to, $50,000 is still going to... You've still got all of that usable equity in your home. And as long as you've got the income to be able to do it, you can still then leverage off what you've paid off to go again and do all
and
these
that's
other
the point
things.
here. Pay off mortgage, you get shares, leave on offsetting, we keep changing our mind. Well, shares ? Or leave offsetting, it's basically the same thing because there's no planet that I live on in this position where I'm taking $450 cash and putting that in a share portfolio. If I'm doing that, I'm paying down the mortgage, seeing Sphere Home Loans, setting up a new mortgage for $450 and using the borrowed money into the share portfolio. Because I want it to be deductible. The debt's going to be there either way.
Totally get that. But there's cases where people do that. They pay that mortgage off and then they find out they can't borrow for one reason or another. So I always say don't pay anything off until you've seen a mortgage broker and know what you can do first.
Yeah.
So just leave yourself flexible, see a broker, see whoever you need to see to get the advice that you need, but just leave yourself fluid until you've got a strategy.
I think a lot of the stuff, particularly, we didn't get a lot of these questions 8 years ago when we started the podcast because our audience has grown and moved, and we are getting more of these situations where someone's got a home and they've had an investment property. I think as a Mark II in kind of our financial decisions, it's obviously different than Mark I. I think the whole thing needs to revolve now around the accommodation and the housing, like the PPOR.
Yeah.
And that's, are we upgrading? Are we renovating? Or it's all good? Like once you sort that out, plug all the money into that strategy. And we kind of see it here, we keep changing our minds. And I've mentioned this so much. There is so much agony that happens because we're trying to make the quote-unquote right money decision, where when we're in Mark II, it's more important to make the lifestyle decision and plug the money into that, where when we're in Mark I, just left uni, grinding away, well, we really just want to be making the right money decision if we're starting, I think. Like, sure, there could be some small trade-offs, like we're going to spend 10 grand and go to Europe as opposed to investing. But as we get older, as we get more money in our life, we must lead with what is the best decision that we want for our life, and we will plug the money into that. So this person, we keep changing our minds. I would say the key word in this whole freaking thing is recently. Yeah. How about we do nothing for 6 months and leave the money on offset? I don't know. I just don't think you can't break it. From here on in,
it's amazing.
You basically own your house.
As long as you're not, and it just doesn't feel like Magical Koala's a spender. If you were a bit of a spender, the only caveat I'd put on this is to open up a separate offset account to put that $450 in. Do not make that your everyday account. And even if you aren't a spender, don't have $450,000 sitting in an account with cards attached to it.
Yeah.
You need to have that separate offset that's like locked away that you don't use every day and have key cards attached to for safety.
Yeah. So Mark II, I think it's a good opportunity to get financial advice. You're allowed to pay $5,000 to get some once-off advice. It'll pay for itself. Because what I'm thinking, we need to lead with the house, absolutely, but there could be some strategies where we make some because one thing here, the recently sold our investment property, my first question is that $450K, well, how much is flagged for tax? Yeah. Or have you, when you've written this question, the full amount's $500, but we know that we're going to have to pay $50K for CGT. My question is, should we commit some of this money to super and use bring forward or catch-up contributions rather, and try and pay as least tax as possible? So you've pretty much got till June to work that out. So yeah, lots of variables. In this situation, guys, I'm not hesitating to spend $4,500-5,000 for some once-off strategic advice. I'm not talking about ongoing advice, any of that stuff. go and get once-off advice with an advisor. Just say, this is kind of money talk. Say, can you do me a strategy white paper?
What's a strategy white paper?
Which is the strategy paper. Literally, it's not even an SOA. I know some won't, but can you do a strategy document that just details strategy, doesn't make any product recommendations?
Okay.
I mean, it might not be a thing anymore. I kind of used to dabble in those arts. But yeah, see an advisor, get advice. But my whole thing is work out what you want to do. Because I think realistically, Rach, the questions are our mind, so there's two of them, and we need to first agree on, forget money, what do we want?
And I think people who, when they sell a property, an investment property, to pay down their owner-occupied home loan, which I think is awesome, by the way. If you do that, amazing. It's served an amazing purpose. Think, why would I go and buy another investment property? Well, to do it all again. Like, just because you have done that, sold a property to pay your mortgage down, doesn't mean you can't go and invest in property again.
Yeah, and a lot of us. So for me, I'm the the Rentvestor 2.0, where I'm not rent investing. I just rent and have investment properties. There could be a stage one day where I decide to liquidate a heap of property to buy my house, because it's then how much non-deductible debt do you want to carry in your life?
That's right.
For me, it's probably closer to a big fat zero. Hey, it's Glen here. Thank you so much for watching today's video. You made it to the end. Can I ask a favor? Can you hit that like button and maybe hit subscribe if you want to get notified when we release further videos just like this one, whether you watch the Money, Money, Money podcast or Retire Right. And remember, if you want to learn more about investing, I've got an investing book, The Quick Start Guide to Investing, and there's a link in the description to get your hands on a copy. Thank you so much. Bye.